listening to We Watch Movies,
I'm Ava,
and I'm Jenna.
and we watch movie. Anyways, so this week we watched Sentinel, which came out on Netflix recently. I think it's a French movie. It is a French movie, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a French movie.
Okay, it's a French movie. About a soldier who comes back from the war, and then this guy, abuses her sister or something, and her sister's in a coma, and so this woman who's also, she's addicted to, opioids, because she's a soldier. That's, the only kind of soldier character, unless they're, a superhero. Anyways, then she's like, okay, well, guess I'll just murder people now. And, yeah, that's this movie. Jenna, what were your initial thoughts?
I mean, it wasn't, awful, but, it didn't give me any reason to like it. It was a little less than fine.
I really wasn't vibing with the main character. Clara,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't like you. No, I guess... See, firstly, there are just so many things that have been made about the whole, soldier is on drugs type thing. And some things do it well. And it is something that should be talked about because of the whole opioid epidemic. I can't speak. I don't know why I said it like that. But, there's a lot going on with that, and a lot of things that have made it, and they just decided to throw that in as a side quest in this movie. Because it didn't really affect anything, it just kind of was there. They were like, oh, you're on drugs. And I feel like the only thing that did was take away any emotional strength or power that the story had, because you could blame all of it on her being high, you know?
Yeah, this movie kind of didn't really have any connective tissue. It was kind of just, a bunch of, it kind of, took any connection between events, yanked it out of there, so you just had, a bunch of bones, some blood, and it didn't really help it, because it was you're giving me the bare minimum here.
Yeah, I don't know, she didn't feel like a very well fleshed out character. Her motivations, I mean, yeah, what happened to her sister is a big deal, it's a bad thing, but I feel like she had motivation, which was, you hurt my sister, grr, but that was it, you know?
Yeah, and this movie took an absurdly long time to get to that. I feel like there was more time in this movie spent building up to that event than her actually, dealing with it.
I feel like they just needed to pick a storyline. Do you want to explore the PTSD of a soldier, or do you want to explore the, emotional trauma caused by sexual assault? Because, there are two very powerful stories that you can tell, and two different stories that you can do well, but if you try to shove them together, they kind of take away from each other. You can't have too many stories going on at once if it's not an ensemble movie, you know?
Yeah, and this movie is only an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was so short.
Yeah, it felt so long, too.
Yeah, I was watching it, and I was like, wait, it's almost over. And I still don't like this character.
I feel like nothing happens, but at the same time, a lot of things happen, because the more I think about this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, and that happened, and that, I don't know, it felt more like a series of events than a cohesive whole.
It's just, nothing had any emotional weight.
No.
You know,
everything just hit the same with me.
We all kind of knew what was gonna happen to her sister when she left off with this random Russian guy. Which also, of course, he's Russian. If you need to pick a arbitrary race for your bad guy in your movie, what better to pick than Russian, right?
Yeah, you can't have an action movie without a Russian. I guess it just doesn't work.
Yeah, See, I was about to say like yeah, like name a movie with like a bad guy that's like Italian or something, and then I was just thinking that 365 Days is a thing, and I've avoided that movie, so I'm not gonna bring it up.
I almost believed I lived in a world where that did not exist. Then you had to go and bring it up again, Ava.
It's just, I don't know. We've had some hit or miss experiences with foreign films dropped on Netflix on this podcast. I think we've done, what have we done, 2? Right?
We did Nobody Sleeps in the Woods.
We did The Life Ahead.
I feel like we did no, his house was just like BBC. That wasn't like foreign language though.
Yeah. I know I watched a film, I think it was Nigerian, but it was spoken in English, called Citation, which was good, but I didn't really cover it on anything, so it didn't move me that much, but it was good.
I'm looking at the videos we made.
But like, I don't know, Life Ahead is one of the movies that we did on this podcast. That was really good. I think the woman from that is predicted to be nominated for something in the realm of the Oscars. I don't remember which one it was, but I've been stalking the different predictions for a while. And then, so that was a good movie. Had some powerful stuff to tell. But then there was Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, where they like did a lot of stuff. And something, so I was wondering, with the dubs, did they do completely different Foley? Because I feel like they kind of did for Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight. It's like all of the sound design sounds out of place, you know? Especially in Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, when they dubbed the kissing.
Oh my god.
They were like, just like this normal kissing scene, and then like the sounds were like, it's like, ew.
Yeah, I didn't watch the dub, so I can't really say anything. But even then, like, watching, like, the original, like, there was, like, no emotion at all in anything. It was just very bland.
I still don't understand what Operation Sentinel was supposed to be.
Like, an anti-terrorist thing? I don't know.
Yeah, but, like, what? They, like, weren't... So she wasn't allowed to, like, break up a domestic abuse situation?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, they weren't allowed to do anything.
But just, like,
and like
wander around with guns.
She caught that criminal, right? And she had to let him go.
Oh, well, no, that was... Are you talking about the one that she chased?
Well, that's one of the situations, yeah.
Well, she did that because that was, like, her drug dealer.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
I mean, I think that's what happened. I don't know. Movie kind of lost me a little bit.
I don't know. It was kind of... Not to mention, in the like the opening sequence that was supposed to be super dramatic and wow. You know, the kid is holding the activation device in his hand, and it's the size of like a Nintendo Switch. And they didn't notice it. Like, oh my god. If you want to see a super well done, like a show that really handles like the threat of terrorism really well in terms of making it super suspenseful and action-packed, but like kind of realistic too. It's called Bodyguard on Netflix. It's super cool. It's got Richard Madden in it. If you watched Game of Thrones, that's Robb Stark. If you watch Medici, that's Cosimo. If you watch Rocketman, that is John Reed. And if you watch Cinderella, the live action one, it's Prince Kit, Prince Charming. And if you I don't know if you're listening to this like way in the future and you've already watched Marvel's Eternals when that comes out, he is Icarus, I think is his name. Which doesn't really bode well for him as a character.
Yeah.
But yeah. Bodyguard, you should watch that. You should watch that instead of this because it's way better. It deals with PTSD. It deals with I think it deals with PTSD. Pretty sure it does. It deals with terrorism. It deals with all sorts of stuff. It's cool. You should watch it. It's better than this movie, and it's not from America, so ergo it must be good.
Yeah, and I was really surprised because I think it said that this movie was in like the Netflix top 10 thing, and that
Yeah,
it was like
number
really
5.
highly watched, and like I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, as of right now, it's number 5, and it got like a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't think it
also
deserves.
like a 4.7 on like IMDb, so I feel like it's because there are only like a couple of like reviews on Netflix, not on Netflix, on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't think it deserves a 71%. I'm sorry, Rotten Tomatoes. I've been disagreeing with Rotten Tomatoes a lot lately. I feel like I used to agree with them more than I do, like, in the recent times. Because, like, I saw recently, it's on the movie Chaos Walking, which they gave, like, a 24, but I think it deserves, like, a 65, at least.
They gave it a 24?
Yeah, they gave it so low, and it's not that bad. It's, like, on par with, I think, like, Divergent or something, which, wait, what did they give Divergent? Just for science. They gave Divergent 41%. And I think this movie was just as good, if not better than Divergent. So I think it deserves, like, at least a 60. And they gave it, like, a 24. I was like, okay. Like, okay. But that's not the movie we're talking about right now. We're talking about Sentinel, which they gave a 71%, which I don't think it deserved because its character kind of sucked. And that was the main point of the whole thing.
There's really no reason to like this movie. The thing I liked most about this movie were the places that they filmed. Because I was like, man, I want to go to these places. And I kept forgetting that I was supposed to be, like, watching the movie and not just, like, thinking about where all the characters were and how much I would like to go there.
And Jenna looking at that hospital room, man, I really wish I could go there.
Okay, well, no, not the hospital, like that beach area.
Yeah.
That place was pretty cool. I don't know, like, Dubai had pretty colors.
They were in Dubai?
Didn't they do, like,
I thought they
that
were in
3 months
East.
later thing?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I was so confused as to where they were this whole time because, like, I think their mom was speaking Russian, but then, like, they were speaking French or something. And I was really confused because mine was also dubbed, so I didn't, know, like, what they were saying. It was interesting. Oh, you know something funny? I'm pretty sure the, their one black character, I'm pretty sure he spoke in English, right? Because it always said in English in his captions. But, yeah, the entire cast was white, except for this one character, whose only purpose was to just kind of go up to Clara and go, "What are you doing?" That's all he did. The whole movie.
Uh-huh.
"Officer, you can't do that. Officer, are you out of your mind? Officer,
Yeah,
what are you
those
doing?"
are, like, his 2 lines.
That's all he did. And everything else was just white. I mean, like, you could I mean, a little more diversity would never hurt.
Yeah, like, nothing's gonna happen if you make a little more diverse movie. Like, it's okay. You can do that. That's allowed.
Oh my god. But no, this woman, she was, that's not like the normal response. Like, your sister is the victim of a horrible crime, yes, and then you go murder a ton of people? No, well, your first step is to go, like, brutally attack a bunch of guys in a club, which all of those men would be dead. She smashed their head through a urinal. They would be dead. I'm sorry.
She smashed someone's head through a urinal?
Yes, like shattered the urinal.
I have no memory of that happening because, like, honestly, once she kind of like begins her revenge mission, I guess, that's when this movie kind of like started to fall apart for me. Because like I'd be watching and she'd go somewhere and do something and I was like, how did you think to do that? Like, where are the clues? Like, I don't know. It just felt like she walked into a random place, was like, guess I'll just kill everyone in this room, and then she left.
Yeah.
And it got her to the big boss, and I don't understand.
You know, she just started killing people. Like that scene in the bathroom, she smashed some guy's face through, like, a mirror or something. It was like this glass wall that didn't have a wall on the other side of it, but she smashed his face through it. And then she smashed his face through, like, a ceramic urinal. Like, you're not gonna survive that, I'm sorry. That's not just a concussion. And, I mean, a lot of times I permit that kind of stuff. Because, you know, plot armor and stuff. But, like, I don't think this is quite the genre that permits plot armor. I mean, well, every genre permits plot armor, but, like, not like that. If it's the last scene that the character's in and he's unconscious on the floor at the end after you did that, I just assume that he's dead. And then, so there's, like, these guys lying basically dead on the floor of the bathroom, and the club owner is like, what the heck? Get out!
Can I just say, so, spoilers from the end of the movie, I guess, but, like, you don't care about this movie, don't worry about it. But at the end, she's, like, in the final showdown with, like, the big bad guy. And she kind of, like, kicks him off of a railing instead of shooting him. And he falls a good way, smacks his head into a metal pipe, and, like, he should be dead.
Mm-hmm.
That man should not be alive.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like, oh yeah, no, but he's still alive. So literally, they show him, like, breathing, so you know he's alive. But then they cut to, like, Dubai 3 months later, show him for 2 seconds still alive and, like, in a pool, I think. And then, like, they cut back to her, like, just killing him. And I'm like, what was the point of keeping him alive? Just to give us another, like, I don't understand. I don't understand it.
They were like, oh, our SFX team really wants to do the fork in the neck scene. They're like, they really want to do these effects.
Then why didn't you do that in the first place? Like, I don't...
I don't know, This woman gets away with way too much. She shouldn't get away with them. And also there was that, like, cop subplot type thing. These random cops that kind of showed up and didn't do anything. They were pointless characters. All of the other Sentinel guys were pointless characters. I hate saying it, but her mom was a pointless character. And the big reveal of who actually was, like, the guilty party, you know, that wasn't very interesting to me. Like, I wasn't surprised or, like, I guess I was a little surprised, but I wasn't shocked or anything. I wasn't like, whoa, that's so cool, you know? It was like...
Yeah, like, this movie did such a bad job of engaging its audience that I just didn't care. I wasn't invested in who actually did it, so I was like, okay, guess we're gonna kill you now, okay?
You know, they just started killing people and just, like... pew 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 pew, and I just wish I was watching something else. I wish I was watching another movie about a drug-addicted ex-soldier by the name of Cherry that I am going to watch this weekend on Apple TV because I couldn't see it in the theatrical release. But I'm gonna see that, and that looks good, but also it didn't do too well on Rotten Tomatoes. But we all know that Rotten Tomatoes is kind of, high right now, so...
Ava, maybe they confused that movie with this one, and they got the scores wrong.
Maybe. Maybe. That could be. That could be true. Perchance.
Can I just say, I was really mad because when they introduced, like, those 2 cop characters, especially, like, the cop lady, I really thought that we were gonna have, like, the main character and like the cop lady kind of like have to like come to like an unsteady agreement, and like they were maybe gonna like get romantically involved, but like then they were just both pointless characters, and I was like, well, now I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. I don't know, it was just like, why even have the cops if you're gonna do this kind of a story? I don't know, this whole movie was just disappointing. Disappointing! I don't even know what that's from. That's from something. I don't know what it is. But I think I just had a mini stroke there, excuse me.
You are excused.
But yeah, no, I guess I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when I watch Cherry if Cherry is better than this movie. Because that will determine which of these drug addicted army stories or post army stories is the valid one. Because there can only be one. Only one is allowed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this movie is only an hour and 20 minutes. And that right there, I was like, it's either going to do something, like, really interesting that warrants it being, like, so short, or it's just going to, like, fall apart because it doesn't develop itself enough, and it didn't really... Like, this is one of those rare occasions when a movie probably should have been longer, so we could actually, like, develop a character, at least one character.
I don't know. I don't mind characters that, like, kill a lot of people. I don't mind that. That's not my issue with her. My issue with her is that she's just not... She faces no consequences, first of all. She just kind of goes into hiding or whatever. And nobody, goes against her or anything. And she's just able to just deal with all these guys. And, like, she's... I mean, I get that she's a military woman, but still, if you're being ganged up on by, like, a ton of guys who are trained bodyguards, who are probably ex-military as well, let's be honest, and they're all these massive guys and you're cornered in this bathroom, you're not going to be able to take them out that easily. And I know it wasn't easy, but, like, still, she went, like, and done. I don't know what that was. I don't know what I just did. That was weird. But, yeah, no, she just, like, beat them up. Like, pow pow and done. And then it was like, oh yeah, she can do that because she's a military person. But, like, no, she can't really do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in watching this movie because purportedly there were a lot of people who were interested in this movie and watched it, then I mean, I'm not gonna, like, tell you no, because, like, there's no reason why, like, you shouldn't watch this movie, other than the fact that it gives you, like, no reason to want to keep watching this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want something, like, plain to watch, like, you just want some action, you want to see some Russians get beat up, watch this movie. But, like, it doesn't give you any food for thought. It doesn't make you, like, it doesn't shock you in any way. I mean, the big twist or whatever isn't really that shocking for some reason. I mean, in theory it might be, but, like, in practice for some reason it just wasn't. I was like, oh, whatever. So you're not gonna get shocked. You're not gonna be perplexed or given anything to think about, really. It's just, not a lot is gonna happen in your little brain there, and I feel like usually you want something interesting to happen inside your brain while you're watching a movie. So if you're watching this movie and you realize that you're kind of bored, don't say we didn't warn you.
Yeah, I mean, like, at least that, like, what was it called? Like, Behind the Wire or whatever movie, like the robot movie.
Yeah.
That was like, at least it, like, tried, maybe, debatably. But, like, at least we were able to discuss it because we had such strong feelings about it. This movie, like, you can tell, like, we don't care. There's no reason to.
Well, okay, what is the message of this movie? Tell me. What do you think the message of Sentinel is?
That we need people to defend other people that are willing to do what they have to. But you see, that's
What?
not really discussed in the movie. I'm getting that from, like, the final shot, honestly. And even then, that's a lot of me just, like, putting stuff into this movie that isn't there.
Well, okay, so we know that it's not really like, oh, soldiers need more mental health care or whatever to protect them from this opioid crisis or whatever. That's not what the message is, because that's such a side plot, you know? That's such a last-ditch effort to make this movie interesting. That's like an afterthought, you know? So that's not the message. The message isn't, like, justice for people who are like, it's not justice for sexual assault victims, because that would be, honestly, I feel like justice for, like, any justice stuff, it wouldn't be like, let me stab you with a fork in your hotel room when you're not expecting it. Like, justice is like either getting the villain defeated through due process, or like mentally defeating the villain first, and like them knowing that they're getting defeated, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, revenge stories are, like, weird because I feel like they have to walk a line between, like, what the story they're trying to tell and, like, what message they're sending too. And I feel like the movie was like, we just want to write a character that, like, kills a bunch of people. Like, it just didn't feel like they put, like, anything into it. There was like, we're just gonna make an action movie. Okay, bye.
Well, okay, so there's a justice aspect in one of the movies I saw recently where, you know, the main character is kind of like kind of theoretically losing, and the bad guy, who I believe took part in murdering the main character's mother and like a lot of other women and stuff, and so the main character is like, you suck. And then he kind of uses like mind games to get inside the villain's head, and then the villain is ultimately like thrown off a cliff or something. But it's in that moment, you know, the villain is facing this, like, the crimes that he committed, and he's facing like this guilt, you know, he's facing all of that in his last moments. I feel like that's how you get justice. It's not just by killing somebody when they don't expect it. It's about getting them to face what they did, and then like punishing them, which doesn't necessarily have to be killing, but it can be.
What movie was that?
I don't want to say, because I didn't say a spoiler warning beforehand.
That makes sense.
I just tried to give a very general explanation of it. Because it's not like an old movie or anything. If it was an old movie, I would just go into it. But yeah, so that was. I thought that was well handled, because then you have, you know, we talked about I Care a Lot before, and I mean, the main character is the bad guy, and at the end she kind of gets her, well, spoilers, she gets her comeuppance, and it's not satisfying. It's not satisfying. I mean, not just because she's the protagonist, because you can make a protagonist that people hate because they're so despicable, and still kind of root for them, but then still, like, feel satisfied when they die. It wasn't satisfying, and I think that's because this guy just killed her randomly, you know? She didn't feel bad about anything she did. There was no, like, reckoning of her sins. Her sins were never crawling on her back.
Yeah, and also to kind of go off of what you were saying, to kind of like make a climax where your protagonist, it's like facing off with the antagonist, and they're kind of like using mind games and like using different things and like making the villain like really come to terms with what they've done. You kind of also need, in some respects, a dynamic main character. Like, in some way, I'm not saying they have to be like necessarily like a good main character, but they need like some sort of development to kind of like use what they've learned throughout the story, or just a main character that is probably interesting because they're able to outsmart the villain. So either way, you need like something in your main character. So this movie was kind of just like boxed itself in because it couldn't even do that because it didn't have the necessary tools. Like, it didn't have a good villain and it didn't have a good protagonist. So it literally was not able to do anything other than like, I'ma kill you now, or whatever, something.
Like, yeah, I mean, any revenge story plot, it's always this person is coming as like judge, jury, and executioner, blah 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 blah. But like, if there's no like, I don't know if I want to say atonement, but like kind of atonement. If the villain just doesn't have to face what they did mentally, it's not going to be a satisfying win. You know, there has to be that like realization before the villain dies. And I don't know. That's kind of my problem with the majority of revenge plots that I don't like. For those of you who have seen Promising Young Woman, she like her whole thing is getting revenge on people, and like these bad people who take advantage of drunk girls, you know, and she like gets in their heads because she has this like specific mission to get justice for her friend, who is in a very similar situation to Clara's sister, except not Russian. And it was like a group of college boys, and so the main character, she goes and she hunts down these men, and she like makes them understand that what they did was wrong. She doesn't kill any of them. She makes them mentally, like, she makes them feel guilty for what they did and everything. She does that to all of them, or most of them. Like, that's what she does to the guys that she targets. She mentally makes them realize what's wrong with them, and it shocks them just as much. But she doesn't kill anyone. So, I don't know. I think that's a really good... Like that movie is really good if you want to see very satisfying revenge.
Yeah, because, I don't know, revenge is like kind of a more nuanced thing. I know a lot of times we equate it with like the popular idea of like someone wrongs you, so you go off on a quest to kill them, but I feel like there can be a whole lot more to revenge, and the people or things you're enacting revenge for or on that, I don't know, kind of get ignored for a more like action-driven movie like this. Not saying you can't make like an action revenge movie, but I don't know, I feel like there are a lot more takes you could make that could create a more like interesting and impactful story that often get ignored.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at revenge too. Like, if you look at the beginning of Endgame, so because we know at the end of Infinity War, Thor tries to kill Thanos, doesn't go for the head, and Thanos snaps his fingers, and then Thor is very guilty about that, and he wants nothing more than to end Thanos. And then in Endgame, at the beginning, he does. But it's not a satisfying end to Thanos, because Thanos as a villain already won. He doesn't feel bad about anything he did. He's not scared. He's not worried. He's accepted death. And so killing him doesn't change anything. And so that's not a satisfying end to him. But then, you know, like, when they finally do actually end Thanos, I mean, it's not at Thor's hand, so it's not really... It kind of is revenge, but, like, I don't know, it's more out of, like, necessity. But, like, then, you know, there's that moment of realization that he had been defeated, blah, blah, blah. It's more satisfying, and it's also, like, they get rid of everybody, and it's not the same, like, satisfied, well, I keep saying satisfied, but it's not the same, like, contented Thanos that was at the beginning of the movie. And that's part of the reason why it's so satisfying as well when he's finally dead in that scenario. So it's like, it's kind of like, I guess, because you need the villain to have its own character arc, you know? And in this movie, the protagonist barely had a character arc, let alone the villain. So, yeah, it just was not moving in any way.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of walked into this podcast episode thinking, I don't know, it was a movie. I mean, I didn't hate it. I think the more we've talked about it, the more apathetic I've grown towards it. But I mean, like, I was about to say it's not awful, but then I couldn't really think of, like, why I was going to say that. I don't know.
I mean, like,
there's not a whole lot more to talk about it. I mean, like, I can't, like, say one, like, good aspect of it.
Yeah, but, like, it's just, it had some potential. I guess it was just executed very poorly, and it has very little substance. So it's kind of like, it's not like it did anything so boldly terrible that it made me angry or anything, because there have been movies that made me actually, like, really angry, just because, like, maybe its messages were damaging or something. Like when a movie has a damaging message, that makes me really mad, especially if it's targeted at younger audiences, which this wasn't. I mean, you were, like, if you're worried about, violence in this movie, that's damaging, well, it's not, because you know that you were going to get into a movie that had a ton of violence. Like, that's not an issue. But it didn't do anything that would harm the viewer, which is fine. It had a basic plot. It had a story. It had a very simplistic revenge arc, which is okay. It was visually pretty okay. I mean, the effects weren't that bad. It's just, they were just these moments here and there that were just really blah, and could have been cool if they were done differently and they were written differently. And that's just the problem with it. It's just the problems. There's no, like, on paper, there's no issues with it, but the problems are just so fundamental that they're not easy fixes.
Yeah, like, I mean, I would like to hope that in another universe, the potential in this movie was realized, and it came out good. But in the universe we're living in right now, that was not the case. So I will probably never think of this movie again once we finish this episode.
Yeah, sometimes I think I get more mad about little things in movies, like easy fixes. You know, if a movie isn't well researched and they get something, like, super duper wrong that doesn't need to be wrong for the sake of drama or whatever. You know, because sometimes things will dramatize other things, like in history or whatever, but, like, they get, like, a basic fact wrong, that's annoying. Or, like, if they'll do something like, I don't know, I can't think of, if their problems are saved until the ending, for instance, and the rest of it is solid and then the ending just sucks, that makes me so mad. You know, because that would have just taken, I mean, it's not like a tiny issue, but the fix would have just been rewrite the ending, and then you would have had a perfectly fine movie. Those usually make me more mad. This issue, like, the issues in this movie were from start to finish. There were, like, it's not like anything was saved. It's not like anything could have just been easily rewritten. It's like, if you're gonna fix these problems, you would have had to rewrite the entire script, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, from the script that was in this movie, I don't think it would have been that hard, because I feel like all you would have to do is just actually put stuff into it instead of having to like rework it, because like the script you have right now is like perfectly workable because they made it a movie. So all they'd have to do is just tweak it.
Yeah, I mean, somebody bought it.
Netflix put money into this.
I don't know. I stand by the fact that instead of watching this, you should watch Bodyguard. It's so good. It's so good. I have yet to watch Cherry, so I don't know if I recommend that over this. I probably will end up liking it, but that's just because I have confirmation bias. And I recognize that, so I'm not gonna review it. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I definitely Bodyguard does the whole like ex-army man. It's got the terrorism thing. It does all of that way better than this movie did. So definitely check that out. It's on Netflix. It's so good. So watch that instead. I will probably in the next podcast, if I can somehow steer the conversation to relate to whether or not I liked Cherry, I will let you guys know. If
I will ask you about it because I'm curious if it's any good.
Oh, I am gonna make a video for you guys, not this weekend, because this weekend I'm gonna talk about WandaVision, which, like, whoa, WandaVision's already over. That's crazy, but it was good.
I haven't even started WandaVision yet.
Well, that sounds like a you problem, Jenna. You're assigning yourself homework by saying that. I hope you realize that.
I have every intention to. I'll probably do it this weekend.
Well, so not this week, but I think next week, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is coming out, which I'm gonna watch too. But not so not this week, but the next time I have a video for you guys, I'm making a video about the state of movie theaters in the pandemic, because I was privileged enough to go recently, because my parents are all vaccinated, because healthcare providers, yay, heroic, wow, we love. But yeah, so I was allowed to go, and I'm gonna I will tell all. I kind of vlogged a little bit. I felt like a real YouTuber, guys. I was like at the movie theater filming, and I felt really weird because I was like hiding my camera because I didn't want people to look at me funny. But yeah,
I've been in a movie theater for so long. I'm gonna live vicariously through that video.
Oh my gosh, it's so... the vibes just came back. And movie theater popcorn is just as good. Honestly, if you want just like the TLDR of my video, like if you want more details, you can watch my video when it cocomes out. But the TLDR is, to be honest, I felt safer than I have at a restaurant during this pandemic when I was in the movie theater. Do with that information what you will. I think it was pretty... It was as safe as it can be, I think. I don't know what it's like at every movie theater, but the one I went to, it's pretty good.
And don't worry about whatever my next video is gonna be, because it'll definitely be a video.
It will be of the video type medium.
Yes. No, I was actually thinking that maybe I would like write a book for my next thing on the channel, but like, nah, I'll just make a video.
Jenna's gonna claymate all of her videos from now on.
Please, no. That sounds horrible.
I think I have the most experience in stop motion animation among the two of us. Is this the second time I've brought up Pliny the Vlogger in our podcast?
It's probably been more than two, but honestly, it's so good that you should bring it up every time.
One of these days, I'm just gonna end up uploading it because I have nothing else to do for my video. And you're just gonna be like, what is Pliny the Vlogger? And it's gonna get like 2 views.
Or it's gonna get like 1 million.
There's no in between. It's either gonna do really poorly or really well. It's just, if you want to learn about hedgehogs and live vicariously through Pliny the Elder, but as a vlogger, that's what it is. If y'all want me to post that on this channel, then comment down below and get this video to like 50 likes. If you guys can get 50 likes on this video and comment that you want to see Pliny the Vlogger on our YouTube channel, we will do it. We will do it, but only if you can get this to 50 likes. So.
Can only be y'all.
Do with that information what you will.
All I can think of now is the meme template where it's like the person going like, I would like to see it.
Yes, wait, I don't even think our top video right now has over 50 likes. I think it's at like 30 something likes.
But when I looked up our channel today, I think we're getting close to overtaking the World War I or II movie.
Oh my gosh. Like in relevancy? Because we post more?
Yeah, I mean, like, because normally I'd have to scroll a lot to get, like, where we are, and they're, like, the first thing that comes up. But now we're, like, the third thing that comes up. So, like, we're rising in the ranks, Ava.
It also might be because whatever channel you were looking on is subscribed. Which, if you are listening right now and you're not subscribed, you should be subscribed. Because, like, that would be really cool if you subscribed, you know? So definitely do that. Like, get on that subscribing train. Do that. Like, leave a like on here. Remember, we need 50 likes. Comment. Comment down below about all the stuff in the world that you want us to talk about ever on this movie. Or a movie, podcast, or YouTube channel. Whatever you want to see, just let us know. We'll probably get around to it eventually, unless you are one certain person asking for a Scooby-Doo movie or video, because I don't think we'll ever be doing that. I'm sorry. You know who you are. Yeah, so just for the record, we're not gonna make a Scooby-Doo movie. Or video! I can't speak now. Now I'm thinking that all of our stuff is movies instead of videos, and that is unfortunate.
No, we only watch the movies here. We don't make the movies yet. We don't make them yet.
We watch movies. We might make movies. If you guys have an idea for a movie that, like, is never gonna get made, but you want us to make it, we'll probably get around to it in 3 to 5 business years.
No, Ava, we're gonna be taking Walk Fit soon. We're gonna get so much movie planning done.
So we have an idea that we haven't quite written yet. We kind of did some brainstorming for it, and we think it's really cool. But we haven't written the script yet. But Jen and I have a class together in our next marking period where all you do is walk around. And that's like the whole class. And so we are going to be planning out our amazing film in that class and talking all about that. And then eventually we might actually create it, which would be really cool. And then we can get that out to you guys, and you guys can like that up and get that to 50 likes. Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know, I always find it super funny because then I'll watch another YouTuber's videos and they'll be like, can we get this video to 5,000 likes? And I'm just like, oh, okay. 5,000 likes, that's cool.
Like, I mean, like, that's, like, it's, when you're watching a YouTube video, generally, like, when they say, like, 5,000 likes, it's like, okay, no big deal, like, but then, like, when you start your own channel, and you see what it's like when you start out, like, you really start to appreciate just, like, how many people will watch a video.
My god, imagine if, like, in 87 years, our channel blows up. Our channel blows up. And people, like, go back and listen to these podcasts, and they start leaving in the comments, like, I've been here since the beginning, or something, you know, all those people. Or they'll like leave the comments and be like, whoa, they want 50 likes on their video. Wow. That's
Wow,
a parallel
what
universe.
nerds asking for 50? Basic.
No, because I always like, whenever they're like, I've seen like big YouTubers and stuff, like there have been like channels that I am new to that were like, you'll always see in the comments like, oh, I've been here since you got famous, blah blah blah, and then, or there will be big channels that I've been following for like probably like almost 10 years, and like I remember I was watching, I think it was PewDiePie, who did a live stream of like all these, the whole time he was doing inside jokes from like when he was an early channel, like from the early years, and then and he was playing a game that was one of the earlier games that he played, and I like remembered all of it, and I felt so old, but it also was so nostalgic and cute, and I really liked that live stream.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then like even when I think about things like from my childhood, like back when I kind of like first like, I want to say like first used the internet, but like first like got into the internet, and I'm like, oh my god, that was like 5-6 like years ago. What? Why? How? Where did time go?
You know who I've stanned since like almost their beginning? Because not their beginning, but like almost their beginning.
Who?
Film Theory. Actually, no, I think it started with Game Theory in terms of who I was following first. But Team Theorist, I've stanned since early double digits. Probably not single digits. But almost single digits. I've stanned. So Team Theorist,
Wow.
if you ever want to like hire me, please.
Okay then.
But I can stand if I want to stand. I stand a lot of people, and they're
I'm
wonderful.
not saying you can't stand. I'm just saying that's an impressive feat of standing.
No, I'm a stan. I'm an absolute stan. I was a stan of the song Stan before Stan became a thing. Whoa! Nobody. Well, no, wait. Not before Stan became a thing. Before people started using the term Stan, like I stan something, blah blah blah. I feel
Are
like
you a stan girl. That was a joke. I'm sorry.
I feel like this. Okay, I feel like this episode we've been more on topic than we normally are, except my train of thought keeps falling off the rails. And then
Honestly, I think this episode needed it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been confused all day, so it's fine.
It's
But-
Wednesdays. Who care about Wednesdays?
Oh my god, I thought it was Tuesday this morning. I went to school and I thought it was Tuesday. Anyways, guys, thank you for making it to the end. It's truly a feat if you've made it this long. If you're listening somewhere that's not YouTube, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not listening on anything other than YouTube, we'll leave the links to other platforms on which you can listen to this podcast in the description. But you can still subscribe if you're on YouTube, you know, why not? Like, comment, blah, 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 do all that good stuff. Share with your friends. That would be fun. They might enjoy us. They might like this weird hot mess of a podcast. You don't know. And yeah, so we post a new podcast every Wednesday, a new video every weekend, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Jenna, anything to add?
I literally already forgot everything about the movie we just watched.
Wait, what movie did we watch?
Like I know.
Okay, bye!